So it looks like I've survived a 7-day water fast. Let's have a look. Good morning everyone, and welcome to this slightly different episode of Heiser Says. I have my bottle of mineral water here because I wanted to talk to you about the 7-day water fast I've just survived. And you know, we've been doing it for a week, and this fast pretty much it's just been a lot of mineral water, salt, 1 tab of hydrolyte, and that's it. That's it for 7 days. Now, I thought I will go through this video and explain everything to you about why we did it. I'm a keto, or trying to get in a keto diet. I'm an advocate of low carb, high fat because it has fantastic health benefits and just makes a lot of sense with my understanding of how humans came to exist. So, to go to the crux, I bought a couple of days ago a glucose and ketone blood monitor because we've been using the little sticks just to measure our, ketone levels in our blood, or another chemical in your urine that can be used to approximate the amount of ketones you have in your blood. But we wanted to get this to get a better measure. Now, one of the reasons why I'd recommend everyone just goes out and just buys one, just even for under $100, you can get this, test your blood, and just check your glucose level. How many millimoles in Australia you have in your blood. Because then you can tell, just with a finger prick, if you're at risk, if you're pre-diabetic. If it's too high, that's a warning sign that you should go to a doctor and have a talk to them, or make dietary changes. Because you'll get to know your resting glucose level. There's always a level in your body, and your body can make it by itself. So I thought, because I tell you, I'm pretty damn keen to go have breakfast. Rachel's got a roast cooking, and it's Mother's Day, so it's all fun and games. So I'm going to do my tests here and share them with you, and then I'm going to go away, have breakfast, and come back and finish the video later. So this is a little blood glucose test strip. And actually, the first time I used it, can you see that here? You can't really. I'm smearing this thing with my blood everywhere, thinking different parts of the sensor, and oh boy, I did a terrible job. So if you haven't done it before, you just put it in the machine like this. You get one of these things that diabetics are certainly used to. You stick it on your finger, you find a good one, and paper cut is worse than it, and you need to get a good little drop of blood. Here we go. Let's see. Let's have a look. Oh, come on. 4, 3, 2. This is after 7 days of fasting. So there you go. My glucose level is 4.2 millimoles per liter, which is well within the normal range. I tested it a couple of days ago. That was the same. So I'd assume that's just my resting level, which is good. You want that. You want it to be within the minimal range. Now I'm going to test my Beta-Ketone levels. Now these things, you don't want to be testing these ones every day because they're expensive. For 10 of these little strips, it's like $14. And I thought, oh yeah. Because the guy, the chemist, he's our local pharmacist, he gave me the machine for free. Because I think he knew I'd be coming back for more ketone strips. And they're you can't get them online. I thought, oh yeah, I'll smart him. I'll go get them online. So here we go. Let's have a look. And this is what I want to see after 7 days of fasting. And the trick is as well, you can't just use, can't just injure yourself and put the blood on there because the machine looks for impurities and detects it. I kind of think they just want you to buy more needles, but maybe I'm just being paranoid. Wouldn't be the first time. Here we go. There you go. So I managed to get to, can you see that? 4. There we go. 4.0 millimoles per liter, which is fine. I wanted to get around 5. I was 5 a couple of days ago. But it varies as you're using ketone. I've just gone for a walk around. Ketones, if you're using them in your blood as energy, I've just been walking around the house 7 times. So I'm not surprised it's gone down a little bit. So I'm happy with that, guys. Generally, feel fine. This is the second time I've done a fast like this, and the first time was a lot harder. Day 2 and 3 are the worst. Your sense of smell just improves significantly because you can smell food all the way away. Now I'm going to leave you, go have my roast. I'll come back and then explain to you a bit more about why we did this. Okay, so I'm back. I've had a lovely breakfast, and I've got my stein full of coffee. I haven't had coffee for 7 days, so that's good, even if it's crap coffee. So what did I do? Why did I do this? And what did I eat to break my fast? So let's have a look at that first. So here you have my breakfast. I had a nice serving of roast brisket that Rachel corned herself, a bit of mustard, some sour cream, which doesn't have any emulsifiers in it, scrambled eggs, bit of pickled cucumber, a bit of onion, and I chucked some cheese on there later. And I probably had double that amount of meat and some more sour cream as I kept going. Now, eating a meal after you've had a fast like that, you need to be worried about refeeding and your body storing it all as fat because it's in starvation mode. But there's a few things you need to be aware of kind of with what you're eating, and that's if you have an understanding, once you start looking at the keto diet, and there's plenty of experts that I'll link to that can explain this much better than I can, but it's a different understanding, a different model of why your body puts fat on. Now, what we've all been taught, and why everyone's been made to feel guilty, is that the body is just as simple as a chemical reaction. All you need to do is exercise more, run more, you fat bastard, and eat less, and then you'll lose weight. It's that simple. Okay, that's what we have been fed all our lives, pretty much. It's not true. This understanding of weight gain and weight management, because just think, what other animals on the planet gain weight, are overweight? Only those that consume our diet and live with us. None in nature. Very few in nature. If they do, they're really sick and something else is going on. But the body is meant to self-regulate your weight. And the premise here is that if you can control your insulin levels, because insulin, part of its function is to suppress ketones. Now, if you're not aware, ketones are used in your body as an alternative energy source to glucose. And that's really produced from the fat in your body. It can be used everywhere, even in the brain where they say it can't be used. It can be used. But the thing is, when you have a high level of insulin in your blood, and that correlates to your glucose in your blood, that suppresses the ability of ketones to work, and the insulin will actually store more fat. It'll encourage your body to store fat. I think about it as, say, in ancient times, you were only eating every now and then, and you happen to stumble across maybe a honeybee hive. And then you tore it open and you just gouged on it. And because it was so sweet, your body wanted you to gouge on it. And you'd eat it like a 2-year-old, like Josephine. And you just stuff yourself full and you can't help yourself. Same thing with chocolate or sweet chocolate. And then your body, because that was a rare event, it would want to store that for later. So what's the most efficient way to store energy? What's the most energy-dense substance there is in our bodies? And it's fat. Okay? So it stores that for a long time. So everywhere, even if you're skinny, under all your skin, you've got a layer of fat through your whole body. You've got a tremendous amount of calories in your body just sitting in fat that it can use. So one thing that people need to be aware of, that the key to kind of health and losing weight, is to manage your insulin and your glucose levels in your blood, because your body will respond to it. And the danger is, with our diet, the standard Australian or the standard American diet that people are eating, their glucose levels shoot up really high after eating a whole lot of carbs and sugary crap. And you do that over a lifetime, your body starts to build a tolerance or resistance to insulin. You could get insulin resistance, which can lead to type 2 diabetes. So what did I eat? What were the percentage breakdowns? So this here's a rough breakdown of what I had, as best as I could manage. I had 77% fat in this meal, 18% protein, and 5% carbs. And my goals are to hit 5%, 75%, and 20%. of my daily intake. The goal really is to keep your carbs below 20 grams a day, if you can. If you can. It's hard. It is really hard. Like that little bit of onion, that's just pretty much carbs. I shouldn't even eat that, really, if I want to do this as a purist. But, you know, I like crunchy, crunchy onions. And I'm married, so I don't need to worry about kissing strangers. It's all good. It's all good. But, and the pickles as well, they get a bit of sugar in there. We'll learn to pickle our own. We'll get there eventually, as well as the mustard. But still, you know, these are the ratios I'm breaking down. And this, you've got to remember, guys, this is just me sharing my experience of going through this process, how I broke it, just to give you an example. And why am I talking about this on my political channel? Well, food is being politicized. We're hearing more and more about, you know, vegan protesters. We're hearing more and more about taxes on meat. And they want us to all to be, you know, vegans and not eating these fats and eating these seed oils and all this garbage. And once you look at just the research behind the food pyramids, once you look at that, and I will find that. I did a post of this on Heiser Says recently. I shared it. I'm not sure if everyone saw it, but I'll get that for you now. Once you get an understanding of how little research is behind this, you know, all of our food data, and here it is. So here we go. You've got here, rigorous evidence for USDA HH dietary patterns and for low carbohydrate patterns. So this is the recommended diets from the United States, you know, their government's recommendations, and a lot of our stuff picks up from them. You've got Mediterranean 2. Okay, and this is the randomized control clinical trials. These are real studies. The other ones are just surveys based on memory and completely flawed. Too much unreliability to them. The USA style, the DASH, so that's their recommended diet. Vegetarian, none. And these are the diets they recommend. So there's no diet for that. No study. No real study. Everything's anecdotal. Everything's anecdotal. Low carb, 74. 74, because a lot of people are using it in sports. Endurance athletes are using it to have, you know, greater endurance, because rather than having to carb load all the time when they're running, they just use the energy in their body. So that's how I broke it. Now, why did we do it? Oh, wait, one more thing before I go into why we did it. I measured my glucose spike after I ate this meal. And this is one way to check how you're going. So say if you were to eat a, you know, Domino's pizza, even a meaty one, there's a whole lot of vegetable oil and carbs all through that thing, and then you measure your glucose spike after it. That's the thing to worry about. It's that spike that shot up of the glucose in your blood. And what did I get? So I went up to 5.5. Still well within healthy ranges, you know, no problem at all. And that'll go down now over time until I eat again. And I'm very full. I am very, very full, because I've, you know, been suffering through this for a few days. So why did we do it? Really, two reasons. Oh, three reasons. The first reason, which is the reason I did it, this diet this fast the first time at the beginning of the year, was to see if I could. Because in the past, when I'd been on a normal diet, I tried to fast because I heard about the health benefits of it, the weight loss benefits of it, and I had failed miserably. I really did. You know, I had no success. And the second reason was to achieve higher ketone levels, to get my body back into ketosis, because we'd slipped up. We'd been eating junk. We'd been, you know, oh, we're tired. Let's just get a pizza from Domino's, that type of stuff. If you're on a keto diet and you eat carbs, it hits you. It hits you bad. I feel like I have a hangover the day after because your body's not used to it. I know I had one commenter recommend carb cycling, where you have to cycle through carbs every now and then, you know, to put carbs back into your body. But recent research that I've found shows that that's not true. If, say, you have, you know, a cheat day, it'll take you a long time to get back in the process, and it will significantly impact your ability for weight loss if that's your goal, or even it'll have issues with weight maintenance. So there's no real evidence to suggest that you need to carb load. That doesn't exist. And the third reason, and this is just something we recently discovered, was to try and achieve cellular autophagy. Cellular autophagy. So let's have a look at what cellular autophagy is. And this is from MB Info, defining mechanobiology. And we'll read through a bit of this here just to give you an understanding if you're not familiar with it. Autophagy, meaning self-eating, is an intracellular degradation system wherein unwanted cargoes such as old or damaged organelles, unneeded proteins, now remember that, as well as pathogenic agents are digested, and macromolecular contents from the digestion are released back into the cytosol. First described in 1963 by Christian de Duve, autophagy involves the sequestration of cell organelles and cytoplasmic material into double membrane vesicles called autophascosomes, and their subsequent delivery to the lysosomes for degradation by the lysosomal hydrolysis. Okay, what's that mean? It's complicated. It's been known for years, but it is one of the reasons why when you starting a fast or even on a ketogenic diet, you will suffer some protein loss because your body is getting rid of unneeded proteins and clearing out pathogens and other things that your body doesn't need. It's essentially a real detox. A real detox. That's what it is. So you want to get your body into this state. And one way to do it, there's a doctor I follow on YouTube called Dr. Boz, and she has a ratio of your glucose levels and your ketone levels. And you know, in Australia, you have to times your glucose by 18 and then divide it by your ketone levels, and you get a ratio. And you know, you want to get a ratio as low as possible. Ratio below 20 are what's recommended under medical guidance when you are addressing cancer, because you want your body to really address those cells. And it's starting to be used as a complement to cancer treatment. Okay, it's starting to be used there. Now, I don't recommend you run off and just do this based on a YouTube video. I recommend, well, if you're healthy enough, go ahead. It won't kill you. It will not kill you. A couple of days, I'd start slow. But just think about this. If you've been on a normal Australian diet and you try and do this, you're going to feel like crap. You are going to feel like crap. You're going to feel really hungry. You're going to want to eat straight away, you know, within a couple of hours. Whereas when you're on, you know, when you're fat adapted, you can go a couple of days. You know, I didn't feel hungry this morning. I was keen to eat because I wanted to kind of, you know, get some food, but I could probably have gone another 3 or 4 days, even longer, because my body was just used to it now. And you know, even when I started, the day 2 and 3, you're kind of a bit grumpy, but you don't have those cravings. And you know, hunger is a hormonal response in your body, and it lasts about 10 minutes. When you're aware of that, thinking, okay, I'm hungry, it'll be over in 10 minutes. I'll go for a walk, or I'll distract myself and play a computer game or something for a couple of minutes, just so I don't worry about it, or do something else. When you're aware of that, it makes it a lot easier. But last time I tried to do, you know, a fast, even a 1-day fast that lasted till lunch. This is when I was on, you know, a high carb, traditional Australian diet, as opposed to now. So it's much easier for me now. So yeah. And, you know, what else? Another one is weight loss. You know, weight loss is always something that I'm striving for. I want to get down to a healthy weight. And I think if I can maintain this level, I'll be happy. Now I want to start, you know, building my muscle strength up a bit more. I did some exercise 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I hit the weights again for the first time in months, because one of the things that your body will actually store glucose in the muscle cells as glycogen, and you want to burn that all out. And the only way to burn that all out is to do strength resistance training, essentially weights or climbing, walking up hills. And, you know, now that I've eaten again, I definitely haven't gotten it all out of my system. So I hit the weights then, and you know, it was difficult, but I don't know if that was the fast, the keto diet, or the fact that I've been a lazy ass and haven't lifted metal for a long time. But I found doing sit-ups was just insanely easier compared to what I'd last done. So I guess that's just dropping the weight. So I'd spiked back up again. I was heading back up, and I'd shot down. Now it's 70.5. And I expect to jump up a few kilos again. You know, I don't want it to go all the way up, so I need to keep a high-fat diet so I'm not storing it. And now is probably a good time for me to start getting back into an exercise routine so I can, you know, keep or maintain this weight. But I'll be measuring my glucose every now and then, and my keto levels, you know, once a week. Because, I mean, I had a faulty thing this morning. Rachel had a faulty thing this morning. So it adds up. You don't want to do it every day. So, yeah, that's really, you know, the journey that we've gone through. I'll put some links to some good videos, either as a title card or on my website. You know, I recommend Dr. Boz, if you're interested. Dr. Berry, you know, these are names you look up on YouTube, or Low Carb down under there. 3 fantastic resources if you're interested in this type of thing. And it really takes a complete shift in your understanding of how your body stores fat, how your biological systems work, and it's quite different. A lot of the lectures I will watch are lectures where doctors, particularly in the United States, in smaller practices, where they can just go stuff you to the dietary guidelines because they're independent and say, I'm doing this to help my patient. So I'm putting them on a low carb diet. We're going to up your fat. We're going to do this and we're going to monitor it. And he's helping, you know, several of them, not just he, there's also Dr. Boz, the 2 I follow. They're helping their patients get control back of their life and get control of their weight. So guys, you know, I thought since I've been a grumpy bastard the last few days, and I'm certain that's come through on my videos, well, if I'm a grumpy all the time, don't tell me in the comments. I wanted to share this with you because, you know, even if one person is going, okay, that's interesting, I thought about that, I'll have a look, then it's worth it. You know, we're not all looking at dietary information all the time, and I think it can really improve a lot of people's lives. And I mean, I don't trust any of the government's advice regarding health, everything I've read. If you just look into, I mean, come on, how the hell can they be recommending... Oh, I lost it, my Facebook thing. How can they be recommending diets with no bloody research? How can they do that? How can they recommend vegetarianism as a balanced diet? Because these ones aren't even balanced. They don't even provide all the nutrients you need without enough randomized controlled clinical trials. And you see all the time, even in the news, that this rubbish comes out. Oh, what is it? Because my mother is a vegetarian pretty much. And she's terrified that we're doing this diet, but she can't be too terrified because we're losing so much weight. And so whenever they arrive, they'll bring fruit for the kids and all this stuff. And I don't mind too much about that because it's the children, and it's no different to when in ancient times you just stumble upon a fruit tree or you'd go out and get something. So I'm, you know, completely in favor with that. And one last thing to think about is, you know, you can even take this a step further. You can look at your genetic ancestral history, where your ancestors came from in the world and what they would have eaten thousands of years ago, what their diet would have comprised thousands of years ago. So if you were living, you know, if your ancestors are from the equator, you know, or subtropical regions, the food will be different if you have Northern European ancestry. What your people would have eaten would have been quite different. The levels of fat, or where they would have gotten their fat, would have been different. Okay, and this is where I talk, you know, I get all the race realists that are talking about, oh, food would make no difference. But I'm saying, yeah, it does. If you look at it in that perspective. You know, you look at the differences that have evolved around the planet, and you look at the food in relation to that was available at that time in history, you know, that explains it. In some way, at least to me. But now we're kind of all screwed because we're all eating the same horrific diets that's pretty much based on the US one that's got no data. Anyway, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Share with me your stories of fasting, or, you know, what you eat. If any of you go on keto, I like hearing of people that say, oh, I went that and I lost 20 kilos. I had one gentleman, he commented that he did it with his wife, but then she had issues. And there's a good episode from Paul Mason, because women respond to this differently to men. You know, they respond to it very differently to men. And there's a few issues there. It could also be to do, what we found out recently, and what Rachel hates, is that her tea and her dark chocolate that she was eating, which is fine on a keto diet, is bad for women because the tannin inside the tea and the chocolate can inhibit your ability for your body to absorb iron. So even when you're getting enough iron ingested, you actually could have an iron deficiency, which then could flow on to stunting your weight loss that you're gaining, you're achieving. So it's all much more complicated than a simple pyramid. Anyway, everyone, thank you for joining me for this episode. We'll be back to my usual political rambles shortly, and I will see you all again next time. Like, share, subscribe, ding the bell, and share your stories with me in the comments. Bye for now.